O que acende a sua vontade de começar algo? Tem uma faísca em você que te chama para empreender, investir, dar novos rumos para sua vida. E para todos os seus começos, você pode contar com Santander Select. Um banco mais pessoal, mais próximo, mais humano. Um time de especialistas com olhar atento para cada momento da sua vida. Porque você sabe, só quem já deu muitos passos está pronto para continuar começando. Santander Select. Começa em você, começa agora. Precisa ferir a pressão, medir a glicemia ou tomar uma vacina? Na Drogasil tem exames, testes e calendário vacinal completo. E o que é melhor, tem sempre uma Drogasil aí perto de você. É fácil, prático e rápido. Dá para ir entre uma música e outra. Procure nossos farmacêuticos. Quanto mais você conhece o que a gente faz na Drogasil, mais você se cuida.
Fresh look, man. Jeez, Iberg, you keep coming with new hats every single episode, man.
As needed, man. We got dope people every single episode. Dope! Sean Pettit today.
True. Ting, ting, ting. Hey, man, I was listening to I-Grade Cali P's song earlier, and he calls you the ganja warrior. You obviously know when it comes to ganja, which is the best. What are you smoking on?
Today, we doing that organic from Minnesota, Dark Horse Farms. Moon rocks. Big up Ross Jacob. Give thanks. It's organic. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
Nothing best than organically grown ganja from Ross Jacob. Local, too, from Minnesota, same as you.
Hell yeah, man. So what was our deal? Sean Pettit today?
Yeah. So I was thinking, you remember Tanner's intro from Happy Days when E-Raps introduces Tanner?
No. Oh, he's the milk chocolate or something. He's the Tanner ball.
Yeah, that's the end of it. But basically how it goes is E-Rap, quoting E-Rap, I think Tanner's so good, basically because in his little world, reality and video game are the exact same thing. And when Tanner's skiing, he's in the video game. Now, this ain't Tanner, but this applies to the superhuman we got on today.
Superhuman.
Superhuman. This, he beat the game. He burnt the cassette down so much that he had to switch the cassette to keep things interesting.
Ooh.
When you first put him on in Dubski 106, he was a midget. You remember that?
Super little.
Super little, like Mario before the red Amanita mushroom.
True, smallest kid ever skiing.
Still, he was fucking Bowser up, saving the queen, and being the best there is. And when he grew, when he got that red mushroom, it was game over for all competitor.
The red mushroom is when he gets bigger.
Yeah, you got it. He's in the video game, man.
Wicked.
Winner of Red Bull Line Catcher, winner of Cold Rush, countless amounts of powder awards. This man has unlocked new levels to the game, produced his own movies, 2 of them story-based. This man is legendary. Today, we give him flowers to him, the one and only
Sean motherfucking Pettit, and he just joined. Let's give him a call. Let's see how we do this, man. We're getting there. We go Sean. Oh, man. Pettit. Invite. All right, Sean, you got an invite. Now I think you just jump in or something like that. And then it goes boom, bomb. 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Boom, bomb. How are you, Sean?
All right, guys. Very well.
Awesome.
So epic.
Thank you
Welcome
for hanging out with us on a Wednesday morning.
Hell yeah, good to see y'all.
You too, man. I want to start first. Have you ever seen one of these shows?
Yeah, I have actually. I tuned into Phil Poirier's the other day there.
Wicked. I don't know if you caught the beginning or the purpose, but the whole point why Phil and I created this show is because we wanted to celebrate all the people that made a huge impact on the awesome sport that both him and I love, and that We look back at their careers that were foundation, that set standards, that set bars. So we want to use New School's platform, Phil's platform, Inspire, just like say thank you, fucking say you're the shit, and then maybe let some new people know why you are and what you've actually done, because your list is so long, man. You got 20 years since age 11.
Yeah.
And there's no one like you. So for sure, we want to celebrate with you and make sure we can do it together while you're still on this planet, and fucking let some people know. So just that's what we're doing.
Well, I feel honored. Thank you.
Hell.
So really
How
cool.
dope is Iberg's background there, Sean? Just
I know, that's insane with the Kung Fu Haas.
They're autographed, man. Unmounted. 165s. Those. That's what Mosley had his first pro model in 1998, if you remember the winter heat. But them's is original from 67. I got them at a Desert Industry in Utah for $2.
That's fresh.
Mm.
Yeah, those were iconic. I remember those red ones being very, very hot that year. No diggity.
But do you have those?
I don't have those. What are those?
Oakley.
I know. What frame was it called?
I just know you love all this shit.
I do.
The Monte Rio.
Okay, sick. Yeah.
I just saw them. I was like, man, you're so addicted. I was like, what do I got? And I just gave away to my nephew the very first ones that like Seth always used to rock in the late 90s that were like wrapped around.
Oh, yeah, doggy. Oh, yeah. We'll tap into my collection if you guys want.
Oh.
Hey,
that'd be a treat.
You want to see something right now? Go see something.
Let's check it out for sure.
Definitely been on the market.
Cribs. So the two most prized possession Oakleys. We didn't plan this at the show, but this is fun. Do you have a Medusa?
I don't have a Medusa.
Do you have a Over the Top?
I don't have Over the Top.
Do you have Generation Thumbs?
No, I don't. But I did just come up on these, which are like the Thumps.
They are. Those are like fourth. Those are next level fastness.
These are the radar, like with the same kind of thump tech, which is sick because the thump was you had to upload onto an MP3 essentially. It only held a certain amount of songs. These ones with the tech, it's obviously just Bluetooth, so you got your whole library, which is pretty sick.
What's the first song that pops up? It pops up if you press play right now, you think?
I have no idea. Could be anything.
Oh, do you have an X medal? Great call, person. Those are fast too, man. You're into fast looking sunglasses, huh?
Yeah, I mean sport shades for sure. They do the trick. These are the transition lens, which is kind of sick. I haven't had any of those before, so a little clear inside, but when you go outside, they're like pretty dark.
What's your favorite every sunglass you own?
What's my favorite?
Yeah, you gotta have one. Like prize.
Yeah, the Minutes.
So the Minutes are like the small X metal, right?
Those ones.
Metal?
Those are it.
Yeah, they're just like they got an iconic kind of Oakley vibe to me. Small. I have a small face.
You need a skinny cigarette with those, and a cup of coffee that's really small and way too expensive with that turtleneck.
Perhaps. Anyways, those are some fun ones.
Yo, thanks for letting us pop into your private collection there. Anybody tuning in, we're seeing Sean Pettit's private Oakley collection.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Special exclusivity. Oh, I remember those.
Yes, those are my next fave.
Damn.
Top three right there.
How long have you been with Oakley for? Do you know?
Yep, since 2009.
What? You got your first setup though, and like.
Sorry, not.
I tried to do all your numbers. Spring 2002 is when you got your first gear.
Sorry, I was 9, not 2009. It was 2001. or 2000 maybe even actually. 2001, I think it was the
It
first.
might be the longest. So I always called it like a flake level, where I said the writing was on a wall. Like, this is one thing we'll get into. But the way you stayed with companies is unrealistic of any person ever. Maybe it's because you're Canadian. I don't know. But like when I analyze it, but man, 20 years with Oakley, like you just outdid Blake, right? Like Blake was the standard, and then when we saw him go at like 19 years or something. So big up yourself on that one, man.
Cheers. Yeah.
So, to figure out how to evolve with a corporation that's been sold and like did all that and then be a subcategory as Canada under US global, like nice work, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah. Oh, I think there's just there's a lot of unique opportunity there, depending on who you are and what you can do, what you can offer to keep that rolling. I think now I have a different role now than I did, even 10 years ago when it was all just ski. Now it's evolved into something else.
Well, let's start at the beginning, man, because your role started as being able to sell kid skis in a brand new sport. That's how I experienced you, right?
Totally.
Kids model with a pro cap. Pretty crazy. So one of the reasons I think we need to like celebrate you is not only how long you've been in this industry, but like the fact you came in strong at age 11, like when we made Dubski together in 2004. Not only that, but then like I think I really broke down when like I thought about doing the show. I was just like, man, like you had 2004 with me, 2005 with Tanner, CR, and Raps, 2006 with Tanner, CR, because of Show Pop Your Bottles, then Show and Prove, then Believe, so 2007, right?
Yep.
And then Massive, 2008. And so I think of that whole crew because I rolled with them pretty good since the beginning. And I was like, man, like to be able to like go through be with so many great people at the beginning, have such great levels, and then be able to stick around, evolve yourself into a teenager, and then evolve yourself into a man. Like you've had 3 phases pretty much that are pretty extremely different. Like I want to congratulate on that because like to navigate it, you had to do it almost as an adult, even though your parents gave you free reign to go travel with people like me and them. Like man, like you had shit on point. And for the fact you're normal right now and we can talk and you're not some drug addict or you didn't like fail or like you're broken off or jaded and you're still a stoked human evolving every day, man. Big up yourself on 20 years later to be able to do it as a youth. And still to this day, there's been no other 11-year-old that broke out.
It's true. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard now. Yeah. No doubt. No, thank you. It's a crazy ride. And, it's crazy to think of all the phases. Like it has been many phases, many lifetimes lived. It feels like
one of the fun parts too, when I thought about that, because I was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old for you with this crew. Was it ever hard for you as a little guy? Because it was hard for me as a grown ass adult, right? Like 20.
I bet. I know. I'm imagining myself now at 30 being like, rolling around with an 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid and being like, damn, I feel sketchy as hell. But it was so cool for me. I felt like, I always felt like, Kai and Callum were, just a couple years older than me. So I was really always the youngest one in the crew.
And they were always with you, right, on every trip? It wasn't like you were like a solo mission with Tanner and CR and Raps and E-Rock or something.
No, yeah, eventually I think we did do that, but right in the beginning, for sure, I remember it was cool. It was all good. I think like kind of growing up skating and like just in Whistler too, we were always surrounded we were the youngest kids, always at home too, a lot of the time. We had our little friend crew, but it was like, that's what was cool about skiing and skating and snowboarding at that time, or still is now, is that there really is no age difference. Even when I skate today, I go to the skate park and it's all good. It doesn't really matter how old you are.
Did you ever have a crazy experience in those young years traveling with all of us where you're like, holy shit, or like went back home and was like,
oh yeah, for sure. That shit blew my mind every time we'd link up for sure. Yeah, that lifestyle was drastically different than mine at home in a lot of ways. In some ways, not even too different, but I think, going to like that first premiere for Dubsky 106, I think it was in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And what was it?
Club Naked.
Club Naked.
Yeah. I got wasted. He was peeing up. That's my parents' only memory is Kai peeing on a fence at the premiere with like a hat from like, that was weird.
So funny. But yeah, like, just being in like a limo and wearing some fresh Air Force Ones, like Cali P was in the mix, and like all these cultural differences, and I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. And
it's so hot, man. Like we had our own like we had an artist that said your name and shit, and like fucking like hung out, and like, dude, I hung out. We went to sound check. You filmed the whole thing, as I remember, because you had Kai's camera and you were just the cameraman.
Totally.
All day, and then
I know, it was sick. And yeah, I think it was good. It was like, those were good like growing experiences, really, to be like mature quick. I guess we kind of had to, because we're thrown into the mix of life at such a young age. It wasn't just go to school and ski. It turned into a lot.
All awesome to you? Like every experience you had throughout the like early teens, like everything was positive with the travels and circles and stuff?
Yeah,
That's so awesome, man.
Definitely as a young kid, for sure. There's nothing that I was like bummed on when I was young, for sure. It was all just like, what? Okay, like, this is sick. It's sick to be good at something, I guess. Like,
I know one time you were bummed. Yeah. This is my favorite story, and I want to tell it because it's never been recorded. So, when we were filming Dubsky, you were 11. We were with Wiegand, right? And he had his little daughter who was 3 years old at the time, something. And we did Urban. And we got all the snow up at Mount Hood, and we were shooting in Portland. And it was you and Callum and Kai. And so we got back, and we got all the snow and stuff. And I was like, Kai, where's Sean? He's like, he's crying in the van. And I'm like, why is he crying? He's like, he forgot his boots. And,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so
I think I remember that.
Why it was funny to me was because Tanner forgot his boots 2 months before in a pouch in Utah, and he like beat up my whole van. He didn't just cry in the van. And so like I was like, this is so fun. This 11-year-old will never lose his boots again. But I bet Tanner forgets his boots again next week as a 21-year-old.
Yeah. For sure. I don't think I did ever forget my boots after that. Or I was like, damn, it sucks to be on a trip and forget something, because now I'm sidelined. I have to watch everyone else like hit this rail. Yeah.
Big mission, man. We like had to go up the hood. It's snow. 11-year-old.
I remember. I don't even remember what time of year. Must have been like the summer. We were like hitting rails in the summer.
It was the week school got out, because you guys all came down for like 2 weeks.
That's right. So it was like end of June. We were like hitting street rails in Portland. Yeah. That's sick.
What 11-year-old goes to Wendell's and hangs out at Mount Hood?
Totally.
Bill, what do you got, man? I could go for hours. We only got an hour with this little guy.
Yeah, man. There's nothing like it. The shit that you've been able to do, and also mentored by like the crew that was at the tip top of the game. Like Tanner, Iberg put you on at a young age. One thing that like sticks out to the people who we bring on, because we're particular with who we like to have on, is style is like our main concern. Like how stylish you were is very is like ginormous. And I was wondering, in your words, could you describe what style is?
Yeah, I think style is really interpreted in many different ways. But I think one thing that it's very specific to is it's very personal, and some people might like some people's style, and some people might not mess with it. And I think that's fine. There's not a good style and a bad style. There's only a good style and a bad style from one person's perspective. But I think style still does have to have intention, and it comes naturally, and that's how it should be portrayed, is in its most natural form, not trying too hard to do it. I think that's what style is to me.
Yeah, and your skiing and snowboarding, skateboarding represents that to the tip top level.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's good. You think you have good style.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're like, dude, I think it's just whack.
For sure. I mean, I don't think, I still do think I am not perfecting my style, but still figuring it out. It's not a never-ending thing. I don't think it's like, all right, I've done it. I'm in where I want to be. Like, how I skateboard now is way different than how I skateboarded, even 5 years ago. It's an ever-evolving thing.
How would you describe your style?
Sort of freestyle, maybe scrappy in a way.
True. Like a little scrappy.
Yeah. It depends. I'm trying to think. I'm like, there's like an art style, there's a dressing style, there's like a style on skis, there's a style on snowboard, there's a style on skateboarding. And for me, all of those styles are kind of a little bit different in a way. I see skiing style in a certain light, and I don't translate that exact same thing to snowboarding. I think the snowboarding side I have my own approach to style in snowboarding for myself. Same with skateboarding.
You got your architecture, and then you got your other shit. So, and they're all
art. That's all. Not like I could say I have one style, because it wouldn't relate to all of the things I'm doing, I guess.
Well,
Dang.
One other thing I want to bring up because of style, like, you were always a film skier. So the big thing to me, why we pick, freestyle is created off capturing these images, right? And then also through these movies, because that's how you're portrayed. Not only in your skiing, but your visuals, like lifestyle shots, music, etc. So like another big thing outside of your ski that I want to big you up on is like just making movies, and taking control, because you brought such a weird thing to the table that it was awesome, because all of a sudden then people had another style to pick from. Because I always liked that when like you went out and Kai went out, Phil's went out, Tanner went out, Pollard went out. It was so fun because finally they got to go create their own styles that they wanted to represent as a whole project. And so I wanted to big you up for that, because it's not something like you guys have to do. It's a lot easier to like get a plane ticket and show up, like, and then just dominate and then have everyone love you. Because when you make a movie, it's losing money, it's sucking at things a lot, it's learning every single day at a million times level. Like, so I just want, at a young age and where you had, man, like, thanks for bringing that to the culture, because I think it was needed, and the whole crew that you had in Circle that put it together was awesome. Like, Phil and I brought your movie on tour with Search that year, and it was, I don't know, people liked it. So it was awesome to see something unlike everything else.
No, yeah, thanks. That's amazing. I think it was like, I just like being experimental, I think. I've realized over time, and that was just honestly one of the steps of experiment was, I've been a part of these films for a little while now. I think it's time now we just, try making our own, see what happens. Wasn't intended to last forever or anything. Just make a couple films.
How many did you guys make?
Just 2.
Okay. Are we stoked on them?
At the time.
Yeah, you're not now?
My style has changed.
Okay, so you don't look back at it and be like, hell yeah?
I think there's there's certain hell yeah to it in its own light, of course, because it takes me back to that time, which was just a different time in my style and film style and all that, which is cool. There's no problem with that. It's a timestamp.
So here's a good question from someone while we're talking, because you changed styles. What gets you hyped on skiing now? Like, what gets you hyped to go and go do something? Not been through it all.
Yeah, I think what gets me hyped to ski now would be is more of a mentality towards my mentality towards skiing. I think it has to do with conditions. It's really it's a tool for conditions at this point. So is snowboarding. Just what tool am I going to use for this particular day? I think what influences me a lot is, you know, just the idea of speed and control that you can have in skis. I think that's like some of the real benefits of skiing and how skis are designed. And so that's what kind of gets me juiced up. Steep skiing, you know, I think a lot of hiking, like true manpower, skis on your back, work really hard for something that maybe not so rewarding stereotypically.
So when you say, I call Kai for the last couple years because I tried to define him, and I say, you know how in water sports they have a thing called the waterman?
Yeah.
Like does it all, like Kai Lenny? You call Kai a snowman. Is your goal to be a snowman in the next phase?
Is my goal to be a snowman?
I don't know the new style. Are you a snowman? You like going up mountains, down mountains, snowboard, skis, just mountain shit on snow?
For sure. Yeah. I think it's not even just snow. It's just the mountains in general. I'm just generally, I think, like very attracted to the mountains in many regards, whether it's on snow or rocks, in dirt, in the forest, whatever. I think there's, mountain man.
Mountain man. All right, that makes sense. Guy's snowman, you a mountain man? Perfect.
Totally. Yeah,
the way you navigated it from skiing and snowboarding, it's still like blending both, not like they're mutually exclusive. You still do both, but it's just beautiful to see. And also, to me, when I saw those clips you released of you snowboarding, I was amazed. Like, I was like, damn, he's like pro off the fucking bat. Like, did you grow up snowboarding a little bit, or was that skateboarding background basically that helped out to it?
I think it was a skate background that helped a lot. But honestly, growing up skiing, my skiing was heavily influenced by snowboarding at that time. I watched more snowboard videos than I watched ski videos growing up. And really, I think through so many of those years filming skiing, it was, in my mind, I was just translating how do I snowboard on my skis realistically. And then up until the point where I tried to mimic that as much as I could. And then I actually strapped on a snowboard and realized that I was like, oh, maybe this is what I was doing. Instead of trying to mimic this other sport with the sport, I actually just wanted to do that sport. And so I think that's what kicked off me snowboarding pretty solely for a good 5 years. Like, I didn't barely touch skis for a couple of years and was just snowboarding.
So you didn't even do ski film segments those years?
No.
Oh, yeah? And you had snow?
Barely skiing for like a good 5 years.
Damn.
Because I was just like, oh, I'm too hyped on this. You know, it was the same. As soon as I was like left Red Bull, I was like, peace. I'm gonna do my own thing. This is gonna be dope. This is what I want to do. Don't care about the industry side of it, the money, whatever. I just want to do this. And now that's taught me what I do like about skiing again. And it's different, and that's why it's different, because it was influenced by snowboarding, and now snowboarding is snowboarding. And so I came back to skiing to change my mind on it in a way and be like, well, this is actually what I like about skiing. Not, I don't like the derived version of skiing that's influenced by snowboarding. I like skiing for skiing. I think that's when I reference like that 1997 era of skiing, and why that was the last like really sick time in my mind for skiing.
Did you just say 1997?
Yeah. It was before my time, obviously, but
what made you think this time was so epic?
I think the real rawness and like kind of punk mentality that skiing had and it wasn't so influenced by snowboarding yet. I think it was
Who
still.
were you influenced then by at this time period that you think is the awesomeness?
I think Seth was like really epic in that period. Yeah, Seth Pistols. And again, like at that time, obviously, I didn't know. I had no idea about any of that. I think it's now. Now I look back at that period and I'm like, damn, I think that was like, that's kind of what some of the energy that I'd like to pump into skiing is from a time that was skiing as skiing.
As a freestyle skier person, I've never heard a freestyle skier say the dopest time was 1997 or late 90s.
Yeah.
Like the whole time everyone quit what they were doing and was like, fuck it.
I know, exactly. That's the time that everyone was like, changed what was going on because freestyle skiing was happening. And I was all for it. That was happening at that time. But I think back now and I think of how it just felt, I don't know, it just felt true at that time. Maybe more true in the sense of it wasn't so influenced by other sport and other, it was like, it kind of had its own thing going on. That's why I see Stack in that time. And I was like, damn, guy wasn't influenced by anything else but punk music and like being really gnarly.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. You can do that with music when you love it. You can like go back to find the root and then you're like, yo, the root is dope. So like I've done the same thing like that's how I found dancehall. You know, it's like I loved rap growing up, but that's 90s shit and 80s shit. And then you're like, where did rap come from? Oh, this DJ from Jamaica. Oh, he brought dancehall, that beat. God, I love this shit. So
totally. I think a little research can go a long way. Just finding out those things. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes they'll just fall into your lap. Sometimes you got to go looking for them. So yeah, I definitely think that's sort of the future of how I am going to approach skiing. Is not just based on a single era, but I think based on that mentality of, you know, feeding something that feels true and not lost in identity in any sort of way.
Strong. A segment at Alta and Deer Valley only and keep it really real.
Hell no.
But I'm just saying, like that.
No, fuck those.
Directional skis.
I'm all for directional skis now, for sure.
You don't go backwards ever?
I don't go backwards at all anymore. That's what I got my snowboard for, bro.
All right, well, it's technically not backwards. It's the other way on a snowboard. Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, I choose not to put my back downhill first anymore. Yeah. It's just, I've evolved into. I don't think it has anything. I still respect it. I still respect all freestyle skiing, any sort of skiing in that regard. It's just my own way of doing it now is that way. It's directional. I think skis, in my mind, my skis perform the best when they're directional. Set a little further back. I don't know, it's a new ski style approach for me too, because I've spent my entire ski career in the middle of my skis on twin tip skis.
Makes sense.
But now it's like having a new sport again. It's something else.
Everybody says on this thing they all love keep your tips up. So that's your flowers that you get from all the new schoolers audience mostly. So they love that shit.
Yeah, reality shows are pretty funny.
I don't think I've ever seen
I think they're talking about the segment.
Oh, the segment.
Keep your tips up.
Yeah, the segment is dope. I like what you said on basically what I synthesized from it is you're following your intuition and your inclination and not really trying to please anybody else and what you feel is right for yourself. And that is like what creates longevity and prosperity and health really in the long run. So big up for that. One thing that like shines in your shit is your first try gnarly clip ratio success is probably the highest out of everybody. Unhealed in confidence, it's unreal. And compared to the street where I ski a lot, where it's like 3-digit amounts of tries, like 100 and 100. You stomp shit first try. Can you tell us about your inner speech up there? Or if there's no inner speech, no voice, can you describe the state of mind when you're approaching these like monumental features?
I think my state of mind was shut off completely. Don't even think about it and just do and not overthink, because that's just how my mind worked. If I thought too much about a line or an air, I would get in my head and it wouldn't go as planned, because I think the better idea was to go in with no plan and just freestyle it and just feel it out. I always like hitting any of those big cliffs back in the day. It was always, as soon as you go off, you kind of, if you have an air awareness, you sort of know how long it'll take you before you hit the ground, generally in your mind. So I think, and 360 was my regulator. It was easier for me to do a 360 off of any of those cliffs or spin a small amount than do a straight air a lot of the time. So,
what year was that when you did the rodeo that closed MSP's trailer? And I guess they cut it off on the landing and you didn't land it, but they let it. It was a tease, right? Because it was. You know what I'm talking about? This shot is like one of the biggest things in my head that I'll ever remember, because we all had to sit there and be like, he didn't fucking land it. But then you had another one that you did, so we all had to shut the fuck up. But it was the best tease I remember of all time, because I'd never seen anything bigger than that shit at that time. You were like 17, 18. I was like, holy fucking shit.
I think that was my first year with Matchstick, if I'm thinking about the same thing you are. 2008 or 2009. Yep. 2009, that would have been when it came out. We were probably riding 2008. Yeah. That was kind of keyed this zone around Whistler that I ended up going back to quite a bit. So a lot of where this footage is right here is kind of all in this same zone that I ended up pretty much filming a whole part in this whole zone in like a week. And that's really where, so much of that footage came from.
Do you have favorite mountains?
What's that?
Do you have a favorite, like I guess, area because of snow texture and stuff like that? But do you have a favorite zone in the world?
I think it's still here in BC at the Coast Mountain, because I think that's just what I got used to riding. The snowpack, the snow is a certain way. The terrain is a certain type of terrain, and we, that Whistler style that people talk about. It's because of that. It's because of the terrain, the snow. And so it's still my favorite for sure, because that's just what I know the best. Feels the most comfortable for sure.
Here's my other random crazy thing when I went through all your shit. Like, I was just trying to study your dates and stuff of what you accomplished. So like from that year you went with MSP for the next 4 years, like 2 skiers a year with powder and a bunch of shit. Like, and so that would put you at like late teens, and you are the Superman of the whole fucking sport. Did you ever have, like, I guess for the lack of like an easier way, is like what do I call it? Like a godlike thing. Do you ever feel like you were just the illest shit? Do you ever get a little too self-confident in who you were as a person at this time at such a young age? Because I was blown away when I looked at it on paper, because I always knew you were dope, knew what you were doing. I saw your performances, but I never was really thinking back then at the time, like how old you were, like what, I don't know, it just wasn't part. But like, do you ever have some shit where you just became Mr. Super, like, I'm a fucking man?
Totally. Oh my God, man. You give a teenage kid like a whole bunch of attention, and like everything you want in the world, gonna go straight to your head, and it totally did for a long time.
Did you have any consequences from it in your skiing or like life? Or did you just mature and then it moved on?
I think so. I can't say that there was anything too significant that reality checked me, other than myself looking at myself and being like, I don't really like who I am right now, being this like ego driven maniac. And I want to change that a little bit and humble myself. And I think snowboarding did that, in a way, because as soon as I, was like kind of giving it into snowboarding quite a bit, I was like, I know I'm not good.
Yeah, and then you got to be the skier. So not like everyone's patting you on the back because you're taking a spot away from like maybe someone that like lives for it.
Totally.
That's unfair, dude. It's just because he's on K2, just because he's on Oakley.
For sure. There was shit talk for sure amongst.
What keeps you in check to know that because you were a god for over a decade in one sport?
Yeah, totally. I think that was like a perfect reality check to be like, yeah, I should just like, or it was a reality check only for myself to like humble myself in that sense of, it kind of drove me to want to like snowboard better too. Because I was like, I can't just be like a stuntman like and think that I can snowboard because I can ski, which I totally did at first. I was like, I can do anything, doesn't matter what it is. But and still now to this day, I'm like, any day I go snowboarding, I'm still learning stuff.
Yeah, but you got to believe you can do anything. That's why you create weird buildings out of rocks in your backyard.
For sure. That's right. Exactly. Oh yeah. I think that's the honest truth right there.
And I feel like also with what you've done in skiing and tried to top and do better is pretty unrealistic. So therefore also I think something that is happiness inducing is progression. And once you've reached a certain point where you stagnate in a sport where like you've done it all and you have to recreate yourself, that's why you found all these ways. And I commend you for like, yeah, the directional skis and the snowboarding, because now you feel like you're progressing, and I'm sure that like fills you up. Like that's the stuff that keeps you happy and going.
Totally. I never wanted to be that, skier that just tried to hold on to it forever because I was good at some point in my life. I think I left skiing when I was my absolute best at it. Or not left, sorry. I think I paused at that moment, step away from it, because I realized that I knew exactly when I hit my pinnacle. I was like, yep, it doesn't go past this. I don't want to.
What was it? That was your pinnacle. What'd you do that was like the banger? Was it your best segment of your life?
No, I don't think so. It was just like I felt the best. It was like, it was not too easy, but it felt a little bit repetitive, I guess. Yeah. It was just like, all right, and here I go again.
Back to Richmond, back to Alaska.
Yeah, like gonna go to the same places and gonna, do the same shit over and over. And I think I was thriving for a little diversity. And
did you split ways with Red Bull when you made a snowboard decision?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like not right away. I think snowboard like maybe 2 years into snowboarding, I was like, this makes no sense anymore. This is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not this. I'm not the identity of a Red Bull athlete anymore.
Were you the only non-competitive Red Bull helmet in skiing in Canada?
I don't think.
You think there was another skier that filmed in Canada that wasn't a competition?
At that time?
Anytime. I can't even think of another Red Bull.
Like now there are for sure. There's like, I guess, yeah, semi-competitive maybe, but.
Either way, big up on that one, because I read, and I never knew that at the time when you were signed at 13 to Red Bull, you were the youngest Red Bull ever signed helmet person. So
yeah.
I'm a younger one now, but that's fucking nuts, man. You probably held that for a decade. And if you think of Red Bull, think of the size of the world, that means even in skateboarding, there wasn't 11-year-olds that were that dope to get a Red Bull helmet.
Yeah, it was wild. At that time, too, Red Bull was like in a glass vial in 7-Eleven still in Thai. Like, this was before Red Bull was what you know it as now. It's when I got, on that team in the beginning, I had no idea what the empire of like an energy drink would influence.
But was, so people know, it was illegal in Canada in 2003 or 4.
Yeah, and I got on in 2004.
Yeah. So like there was no knowledge. That's why Hanson, all those weird energy drinks were the WSI sponsors back in the day.
For sure.
Or
Yeah.
natural drinks.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I grew out of it. I didn't want to push that product for one moving forward. Not something I drank ever anyways, and got tons of opportunity from it, which I am still forever grateful for. But there's a time when you need to cut that off, and lots of people are like, but what about the money, man? It's just like,
you can find it somewhere else with your work ethic.
I can't stress that enough of how irrelevant that part of it is, to think that money is what will make you happy, because it's certainly not the case.
No, and you live that every day. Like there's no way going down that mountain it's about money.
No.
If you don't make it down the mountain, doesn't really matter about the fucking money.
For sure, man.
So,
straight up. I actually, maybe this is a good thing for some of the new schoolers listeners. I got a lot from kids, like over the many years, messages and stuff of, how do I want to become pro? And I always like sort of really didn't like that approach. Even as a kid, any kid thinking that I just want to become pro, I just want to get paid to do it, is such a bad mentality. It's understandable because we glorify that space maybe, but it's Phil is the same. That was never, I think, our intention. That was just
our intention. Your intention is to create art. You're an entertainer, artist who's athletic. That's what you are.
Yeah.
And so when you create this entertainment, why you guys all got paid, you included, was because how you entertain people through your individual stylistic art. Paul Art is I call him the best artist in our sport.
Yeah.
So like the art that you guys did, the problem was when contests came in, it's about a result, and a result supposedly brings money. And that's where everyone got lost, because you can't, in freestyle, you're supposed to be yourself. That's how you achieve. You don't get to be number one because someone who doesn't do what you do say you're the best that day because the weather's.
For sure.
And that's how I just add on to your kind of comment, because I think that's where, part of the revolutions of the sport, that's where it is now, where people believe there's a formula. And there's no formula. It's about go and do what you love, and if you do something awesome, it's epic.
If you want to approach any sport as a business, go right ahead. But that's not what the space was designed for, in my opinion. It's to celebrate artists, for sure.
Especially these sports, action sports or whatever. So like as much
they're
as
they're very individualistic sports. So based on you as an individual in a lot of ways, the community as well, but you ultimately have you're not relying on a team. You have teams, but you rely on your own self to drive what you want to drive and say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Can't help but notice in the bolete mushroom on the back of your left shoulder there. Are you into mushroom picking or sculpting?
I am in the above? This is actually from the Mushroom House. It's a house that is in my neighborhood. That's kind of a famous house.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually a little... I got my cat here, too. This is Minu sitting on my lap.
Yeah.
But the mushroom, it's actually a little stash container.
Ooh. No. Oh, my
It could be a
Lord.
coffee cup and an ashtray. Wow.
Yeah. And so the guy who built the Mushroom House was this guy named Zub. And he was a very incredible architect and just crazy design. The whole Mushroom House doesn't have a single straight angle in it. It's all round. And abstract. Even like the kitchen cabinets are abstract. There's not a single straight wall in the house. So very cool house. Very cool architectural artist.
That's inspiring, and that also like leads us to what your side hobby, or perhaps like passion, or however you will, another love of yours is architecture and making designs out of rocks and sculpture. Totally. Can you tell us a bit about that? When did that come about?
Yeah, I think again, it was like I like to credit like all of my processes back to my halt time in skiing, of pause, picking up snowboarding. I think once I picked up snowboarding, I was like, oh, damn, doing new things is really exciting and gets me going. And then, you know, you start thinking about all these other things and what am I influenced by? What is, you know, finding out what your style realistically, what is your art style? What do you like about these certain things in design and architecture, whatever. So I think it started with, you know, kind of rekindling a flame with the mountains in general. You know, going out and, you know, being out in the woods and seeing what the logging industry was doing to forest. I think, you know, I was like, oh, there's lots of scraps just left behind, like piles and piles of rotting logs. And so I'd go and cut a piece off, make a stool out of that. And it felt like good in a way to be like, well, they're destroying it. At least I can maybe turn some of this waste into art, and possibly. I think being a part of like such a consumer-based world in action sports as well, I think trying to balance it with something that was just felt a little less invasive on the planet felt good. And I think that's what I'm continuing on a little bit now, is with that sort of mentality of, you know, building this dome hut out of stones. You know, very Earthship inspired, half built into the ground, using, you know, the natural heating of the earth to make your structure more live amongst nature and not try to fight against nature like most houses that are built in our modern world do. Very, very against the natural world. So definitely, yeah, I think it all has been inspired by just sort of getting myself in tune with the natural world as much as I can.
You and Phil would get along. You guys should go like mushroom gathering. Phil has a pet raccoon. He didn't even go with the domestic type of animal like you. Like he was the one in nature that brought him into the house while they gathered mushrooms together. And
that is so dope. That is so dope. I do want a pet raccoon. If one ever falls into my lap, that's so sick. What's the raccoon's name?
Weppy.
So epic, man. You're gonna have to send me some. I'll have to look up some. Are they on your? Is he on your Instagram or anything?
I'm making his promo video here, but I'm taking my time. It's kind of like hard to put her out there. She's a girl. Put her out there. I just am keeping it for myself, kind of, and just like kind of like heartwarming to make the edit. I'm just crafting it and not really like trying to put it out in the world yet. But I'll be happy to send you a little video.
I would love to see that. Yeah, nothing makes me happier than some cute animal vids. No doubt. They're good little friends.
Much. Yeah, it's inspiring to see, man, you being influenced by the Earthships and building off of rocks and being more drawn towards nature. And just, I think, that pause of skiing was definitely what caused it. That's like a powerful thing to be able to do, too, when you're like on top of the game and take that break. For real, like it's a very difficult thing because you hold something that's like slippery, you know, it might not but your intentions were never towards like materialistic goods. Like money never motivated you. It was all pure form. Do you think like your upbringing, your parents, did they instill sort of that notion in you? You think?
Yeah, I do think so. My mom is very like spiritually in touch. She's a shaman, and that's her practice. And I think that was, yeah, for sure, just having both my parents, slight influence of. Yeah, I was never told anything by my parents of what direction to go in any sort of way. As Iberg remembers, I was
Yeah, I
like,
want to big up Groovemeister. If you're
Kelly.
watching, man, I miss you too. And Harvey and Montreal.
Totally, yeah. No, they were both always very just. You're free to do what you please, realistically, and I think that sort of instilled good things amongst me and my brother. Of not to we didn't abuse that. We weren't like, haha, we have free range to do whatever. We kind of respected the free range and weren't dumbasses. I don't think, we fucked around for sure, but as any sort of teenager, young adult does. But we still we knew when to, not go overboard.
And you got it done. You woke up every day and you accomplished something. So as a parent, like your big thing is that your kid knows what they want and actually goes for it. Because
Totally.
like think how many kids don't want to go to school every day, and they're living like they're supposed to live.
Exactly.
You had to figure out how to feed yourself 3 times a day as an 11-year-old in a foreign country.
Exactly. Yeah.
While performing something without getting hurt.
For sure. And I think having that, growing up in a basement suite a lot of the time in Whistler with a single mom was part of that. It was, seeing her struggles in a way a little bit. She's working like, she's teaching skiing during the day and working in a restaurant at night. And she's sleeping in the living room while me and my brother share the 1 bedroom in the suite that we're living in. I think just having, and it wasn't always like that. We moved around a little bit and upgraded suites at times and moved to Pemberton at one point into a. But we were middle class. We weren't. We were privileged enough to be able to do what we wanted to, and I think just seeing how my mom went about life that way, I think just was instilled on us to support, make sure that, and so that I think that's what as soon as we started getting attention for skiing, I was like, I got to show up. I don't want my mom to have to buy me a jacket.
Or I missed my plane, which a 17-year-old could say at the time. Oh, sponsor, you got to buy me a new plane ticket. I missed my flight. Yeah, sure. Not saying that as 11 and 13-year-old.
No, hell no. No, we never did that for sure. And as soon as we started, getting hooked up with gear, I was like, look, Mom, like, you don't have to support us anymore. Like, we can support ourselves.
Wicked.
And I think that was probably a load off her shoulders. I think in a when we're young teenagers coming home with a contract, saying like, "Look, we got some money. I can buy my own lunch now.
I can travel."
Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, big up Mom and Dad, man, because for sure they played a big role for your survival.
No doubt. Oh yeah, would be impossible without it.
What else do we make? We got some movies, awesomeness. I mean, the only thing we haven't like really bigged you up is on your clothing or even talked about it. Is Future Proof still? We haven't talked about pro model skis either. Man, let's go back to skis quick because that's a little more ski, and then we'll get on to Future.
Sure. No, yeah. Skis. A dope time.
Like, pro models are nuts. And so, like, I think when I showed you that one ski, I totally forgot your name was on a ski when you were 13 and Cal was 15. And so, like, I don't know. I want to, no matter what happened there, because it wasn't really a pro model. It was a junior ski, the juvie that had your name on it, and then it wasn't Hal or Sean, but it still said Pettit on the ski. Another dope reason a parent has to go, what the fuck?
Totally.
So big up yourself for having a ski with your name on it at age 13. And I don't even know when we look later. And then it was crazy because I think it was another 8 or 9 years before you got your first pro model. Like, legit one. And then you got like 5 or 6, I think, in a row or something.
Yeah, we did 5 years of the Pettitor, which is the ski here. There's 5 models.
And then you had also the catamaran. Sorry for
the catamaran wasn't. I kind of endorsed it a little bit, but it wasn't considered a pro model at that point.
Okay.
But
that's what
up into the catamaran, the Pettitor, and that was for 5 years. And so I think it happened. Well, at K2 at the time, I was like, there wasn't a small enough backcountry ski that I could get for my size. So I started with riding like the women's Seth ski at the time, called the Nancy. And I rode the Nancy for like 2 years because they didn't make the Seth in a small enough ski for me. And then eventually, when I was like 15, I grew a little bit more and was able to like ride the Seth ski. And then the Seth ski I rode for a couple of years, and then into the Hellbent. And then my ski sort of was derived from a little bit of both of those skis almost put together.
Your first year, man, I remember when you were 11, I think you broke like 20 pairs of skis that year.
Yeah.
Every time you skied, you broke them. Like, we'd be like, okay, I got 3 pairs. We can get 3 tricks if I land perfectly on my feet. But they'll probably still break even when I land perfectly. Because it's like, what, 120 made for a baby.
Yeah, exactly. I was riding skis that were foam core, meant for a small child.
My child.
Your child.
6.
And so that was another, sort of definitive moment, even in the ski-making progression of like, hey, if there's going to be kids that are this big that are going to ski at a higher level, we need to make something that's going to cater to it. And so they did. And there were wood core small skis coming out the next year.
What else you got, Phil? We're at hour.
I mean, Sean's done so much in skiing that we could go nonstop, but here's like a run from Red Bull Linecatcher 2011 that Sean won. I think what I want to ask you here or get to is like when the inception of the Linecatcher begun, I think it was in France. You were there, got the podium, and that was like a novelty at that point. Like those types of event had never been around. And can you like give your opinion on like the power of doing just these new type of contests and keeping the scene relevant and just like things different?
Totally. I think there was a certain sense amongst a lot of like freestyle based skiers that the Freeride World Tour was kind of wacky. It was like a little bit hucky because the Freeride World Tour has been around for longer than those events. Obviously, it's similar in a sense, but this was more hyper focused on people that can sort of blend the two of big mountain riding and freestyle skiing together versus maybe the Freeride World Tour approach, especially then, which was very just like hucky and no sort of sense of style whatsoever. So I think those events were really cool at that time because it was sort of tapping into that like style aspect of big mountain riding. It wasn't just like a Huckfest scenario. And I really enjoyed those events when they were going down, but I still was never competitive. And I never thought that free skiing was ever designed to be competitive. So it was a fun run while we did it, a couple of years of those. And as soon as they sort of stopped, I was pretty happy actually, because I was like, ooh, I don't like pressure that way. I like to, sort of make my own pressure on myself. But in contests, I don't know. I got away from contests, as Iberg remembers. As soon as we started filming Dubski 106, I was 13. I immediately was like, oh, I don't do contests anymore. Oh, this is way more fun and way more creative and way like, this was the shit. This, like, the WSI was like one of the last park contests I did, and last being at 13, 14.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is 11. You're 11 years old in the spring.
11.
You're 12 that summer, July.
Yeah.
So when you pop your bottles at 12 years old that whole year, you were done with contests already.
I know, yeah. And I knew that. I was like, oh, this is just like, I just get the sense of this just feels like it's way cooler. And that's where we went. And so to have contests like kind of reappear in another form, like almost, many years later in these backcountry contests, again, it was cool at the time. It felt awesome to do. But I knew, I was like, I don't like contests. I don't think there's like, I don't think there's the best. I never was like, I want to be the best. I think everyone is like, as individually cool things that they bring to the table, but to like, that's what I just don't like about contests, I think, is this whole, like, there's only one winner and everyone else is categorized beyond that. The second best, the third best, the fourth best, whatever. So I was never drawn to that.
And considering the aspect of video awards, that's a different play for you. Like, since you don't have the pressure of the contest, but still, like, you get celebrated for a reason. Was that more like? Did that feel better when you were attending those and getting the prizes?
Again, it was cool, but that's all just other people's decision to award you with you're the best this year. This was a magazine telling staff, whether it was peer judged. I don't remember exactly how the Powder Magazine Awards went down or any of the other magazine awards, but again, was cool and felt awesome to be regarded in that sense, but it wasn't what I never was filming to get a video award every year. I think the whole filming process was always just, what am I going to do that's going to be my best? What do I want to do this year that I didn't do last year? Stuff like that. I think that was more what was on my mind than ever thinking about this one night where you'd get an award and say nobody would remember anyways. Yeah. Those are just industry shit.
Yeah, I admire
with anything else. That's just a media portion of it.
For real.
Yeah.
No, your pursuit is remarkable, dude. So inspiring, and also to where you come and what you've done and how you made it here. Inspiring, and I think all these people right now on New Schoolers following the younger generation have a lot. They need to be pulling out the pad and the pen and taking notes right now. You're dropping some real jewels, for real.
Oh yeah, I think that's that'd be a really good thing. Is I think I can only imagine being a young up and comer or young person in general who's into skiing, being tough with trying to make it something. It's not like it was when we were young, coming up and doing it. I think, yeah, as long as you just set your intentions straight, I think that's what is most important. Is not really think about anything else going on in your space, or if if you're not as good as someone else. Everyone has their own unique style, and I think it's important to feed into your own uniqueness, not try to change it to be like someone else.
Agreed.
Yeah. Respect. And I want to give some flowers back to Iberg as well here, because I wouldn't be here having this conversation if he didn't point that camera at us for the first time for Dubsky 106.
Thanks, man. That was fun as shit. Like, I'm so
That's fun as shit.
like what you've done, man. Like, and everything. Like, I don't know, just to like be healthy, to be here, to grow, to do new shit. To always do new shit when you were only in skiing. Like, just big up yourself on that, man. I appreciate having that year out of life with you as well, because I am who I am for all those.
I learned a whole lot as a young kid. When you're 11, 12, 13, you're like a sponge, and so I took a lot away from you that maybe you don't even know, but a lot of things.
I sat down and smoked by myself in front of you and just would talk and talk and talk. And then
for sure.
I would be smoking, so for sure you absorbed every word.
Totally. And music, I mean, I remember being in Mammoth with you and Tanner and Mikael, and we were staying in that Motel 8, and we would be driving to Mammoth every day in the back of that, in that minivan, and you had a little DVD player, and we'd watch the Wu-Tang Reunited CD, or DVD.
Yeah, the full live show together.
The last full live show.
Still it, like 8 years later.
Sick. I remember that somehow left an impact on, or just that whole trip, actually. But
and we always played the song "Run" over and over.
yeah. It was epic.
Ghost. What's here a fan question here? What's your favorite Wu song?
My favorite Wu song?
On top of the head.
It's Yours.
Yeah, Machine Gun Rap. All my people in the back. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that track. But I mean, there's lots of Wu tracks that still slap.
Great choice, and flowers given to Iberg, well deservingly, man. And
thanks,
both of you, big flowers deserving from my perspective. Because Sean, when Iberg put you on, and Kai as well, to me it was like a blueprint of like what you had to be on the fucking scene. Like, I was amongst your age. I'm Kai's age, but I was looking at you, and when I saw the 9 in the pipe, I was like, oh, this is a little dicey. I don't know if I can follow up with this, but I'm going to do me. But thank you both. And
you can get flowers, too, if nobody has told you that yet, because you also changed skiing at that time, and still are. I think you've done something you probably are one of the most creative freestyle skiers of all time. For real.
Big up.
You and Henrik's scene was you guys touched that whole generation in the 2000s there, big time.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, man, because Phil I got to work with you and Kai, and then like 6 years later I worked with Phil and Henrik, and they're the exact same ages as you and Kai, pretty much.
Totally.
And so it's so fun to like see that crazy, like, whoa, these guys are climbing mountains in helicopters. You guys are living on that 10-foot rail in the backyard, just being stoked. But you got the same stoke. It was just fun because to see the same age, and people can come in at different ages. And create their own lane.
For sure, there's no age that you have to define yourself to do anything. I could be just picking up, skiing on rails now if I wanted to. But there's nothing stopping anybody, certainly.
Well, word, man, I got a good one this week. Hell yeah, Sean. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. We could definitely do 12 hours, but
yeah, for sure. With the amount of time that we haven't caught up in, for sure, I think we could go for days. But
let's do it in real life sometime, or just
exactly.
on 5 feet on new schoolers.
That's right. Yeah, we'll save it for another day.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks, Sean. Fucking take care. We'll
Yeah,
call
respect.
soon.
Sounds good, fellas. Yeah. Shout out to
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you, Sean.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, man. Peace.
Peace.
I don't know how to do any of this. Sean got to hit him. Oh, there he goes, man. Another good one. That was so fun. Sean P, man. That kid skied 2/3 of his life at age 31. Been a pro for 2/3 of his life. Like, yeah, man. Big up, Sean. Thanks for coming on.
Man, we are blessed over here, and so is the public. And man, does he sound good and just grown and wise beyond here. It's crazy to see that, and that comes from him being exposed to like older folks like you and T, like at a young age, and seeing the do's and don'ts. I assume also, and learned so well, man. That's such a good beacon for the younger generations right now. Like it's crazy, man. Just inspired.
Yes, I'm inspired by Shawnee for sure. So thanks again, Sean. Next week, Quebec Quad Tabernacle.
JF motherfucking Hool, the hooligan.
Oh man, another dope one I got when he was young up in the Quebec after.
Yo, yeah, man. What was amazing, like, and I'm glad that Sean gave you the flowers, because damn, dude, like, and people got to know, and it's got to be told again and again how much you influenced the sport of skiing in the back of the room there, just like the back row, brother Puffin Buddha in the background, unseen, and just managing. Just big up yourself, Iberg, and let's keep throwing flowers at those amazing people, and to you too.
Word, man. Well, give thanks for all the kind words. If you guys enjoyed the show, thanks for watching. No, we'll be back next week, every week, 1:30 Eastern Time. And Jeff Hool next week. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Peace.